Welcome to the Conners, and we are here with Grant Imahara from MythBusters. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Now, an engineer, trained engineer, who worked for Industrial Light and Magic. Please tell us about working for Industrial Light and Magic, please. Please, Grant.
You know, I worked in the model shop, and it was a dream come true because growing up in the 70s and 80s, all the major special effects films were ILM model shop. And finally getting to work with people who worked on the original Star Wars was a dream come true. I mean, it was incredible. We worked in all these small teams of people who had a diverse number of talents, people who were like painters and sculptors, and I always had the feeling that we could make absolutely anything.
Now, so did you get designs from other people, or did you have a freedom to create your own creatures or ships or whatever ideas? Was there a creativity there for you?
It's both, because the main concept artwork comes from the art department. In the case of Star Wars, it was Doug Chang.
Yes.
And so he would provide us with kind of a basic roadmap, and it was up to us to fill in the rest. Like, what exactly will these details look like? And so it was both something where you had inspiration, but could also make your own contributions.
Now, I've seen in some of the docos from episode 1, especially with, the Lord High Master himself, George Lucas, coming in and looking at hundreds of models that you've been made, and he'd walk in and just go, that head on that body and this and this and that. Yep. How was that experience for you, sitting there and one man being able to go there, combine it?
In the model shop, by the time those decisions come down to us, they're already done. But I had a number of friends who worked in the art department, and it was, from what I gathered, every week it's a very stressful cycle.
I bet.
Because you are coming up with all these concepts and models and drawings, and there's that moment where, and George isn't there the entire time, but there's that final approval moment where he comes in, just as you said, this, and that was incredibly stressful for them, but, all I can say is thank goodness they took care of it before us.
You dodged the bullet for that one.
We did.
So how did you make the transition from behind the scenes to in front of the camera with the success and the phenomenon that is MythBusters?
Basically, I had friends. And because I had worked for maybe 8 years with Adam, who worked on Star Wars with me, and Tori. We all worked at Industrial Light and Magic. And Jamie would hire me at night and on weekends to come and work for him, moonlight for him. So after they got the show, they asked, will you join us? Is anybody interested in joining us? And that's when Tori left. And I was like, I'm not sure. I'll hang out at the mall shop for another year or two.
Yeah.
And then a year later, Jamie called and said, Scotty didn't quite work out. You should probably, you should audition. And I did, and that was pretty much it. So basically, when they looked for help, they looked among their friends and said, hey, where can we find someone with this skill set? Oh yeah, we already know them.
Now, you did work on the Star Wars MythBusters one. That must have been a highlight, the show, the movies that you worked on, and then actually getting to bust some of the myths, but also prove some of them actually are possible. How was combining the show that you were doing with the love of the past?
I never thought that we would do a Star Wars special, just because, MythBusters was so grounded in this physical world. Yeah. But when I heard that we had the opportunity to do that, it's like, your excitement levels go through the roof. I think when you look at people who are on the cast, Adam and I are the two biggest geeks there. And I think we might be equal, if not, maybe I might be a little bit geekier than him.
Okay, last question. I will focus on the fact that you were connected with The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson and Jeff Peterson himself. How did you get to be involved in the creation of, the greatest you know, sidekick in late, you know, Tonight Show talk show history?
Well, you know, Craig came up with the idea for having a sidekick. But
Of course he did.
he's not, it wasn't going to be like a regular sidekick, like a regular guy.
Yeah.
You know, with Craig, it's always got to be something weird and different. I mean, he's got puppets that talk and you know, two guys in a horse costume. I mean, he takes the format and just plays with it.
Yeah.
So his sidekick, he was like, I want him to be a skeleton, a talking robot skeleton. And I want him to be called Jeff Peterson. And so he's like, who can I get to build this?
Yeah.
And Craig and his son would watch our show MythBusters together.
Yeah.
And so they were familiar with our skill set and like, that's the guy. And so his publicity people called Discovery and said, hey, would Grant be interested in doing this? And I said, absolutely. It's the kind of thing I used to do for a long, long time.
Wow.
And I said, do you want like some Terminator skeleton? He's like, no, I want the cheapest plastic skeleton. I'm like, well, do you want him to like do all this crazy? No. I want him to move one arm, just one arm, and flap the jaws, and that's it. So.
Well, that's incredible. And thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Grant, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
You're watching The Con Artist.